You know, there's something rather strange that's been happening to you lately. The things that used to light you up don't anymore. That song you played on repeat until your ears bled, now it's just noise. The food you craved tastes like cardboard in your mouth. Even the people you love, the ones whose laughter used to fill your chest with warmth, they feel distant, muted, like you're watching them through glass. And here's what terrifies you most. You're starting to wonder if you've lost the ability to feel anything at all, if something inside you has died and you didn't even notice it dying. But I want to suggest something quite different to you today. What if this numbness isn't death at all? What if it's the most dangerous phase of waking up you'll ever experience? Let me describe it more precisely because I suspect you know exactly what I'm talking about. You wake up in the morning and there's nothing, no dread. Exactly, no excitement either. Just a kind of gray neutrality that follows you like a shadow. You scroll through your phone, looking for something, anything that might spark that old feeling. A video, a message, a piece of news that matters. Nothing lands. You try your old escapes. Maybe you binge a series you used to love. Maybe you buy something you don't need. Maybe you reach for a drink, a substance, a person. And here's the truly terrifying part. Even when you get what you wanted, even when the thing arrives or the experience happens, there's no payload, no rush, no satisfaction. It's like biting into fruit and tasting only texture. The sweetness is gone. And you start to panic, don't you? You start running through possibilities in your mind. Am I depressed? Is this a chemical imbalance? Did I burn myself out? Am I broken? You might even go to a doctor, get tested, try medications, read articles about dopamine and serotonin, about ionic adaptation and anhedonia, and maybe some of that helps, or maybe it doesn't. Because what if I told you that what you're experiencing isn't a malfunction at all? What if this loss, this death of the old joy is actually a birth in disguise? To understand what I mean, we need to look at what we've been calling joy all these years. Because I don't think you've lost joy. I think you've lost something else entirely. Think back to the last time you felt genuinely happy, really happy. What was happening? Chances are you weren't just experiencing something pleasant. You were experiencing relief. Relief from hunger when you ate that perfect meal. Relief from loneliness when someone finally texted you back. Relief from boredom when you found that perfect show. Relief from anxiety when the weekend finally arrived. You see, most of what we call pleasure is actually just the cessation of discomfort. It's like this. Imagine you're hitting yourself with a hammer over and over, and then you stop. The moment you stop feels amazing, doesn't it? Your whole body floods with relief. But that's not happiness. That's just not being hit anymore. This is what the Buddha was pointing at when he said life is dukkha, unsatisfactoriness. Not that life is suffering exactly, but that it's fundamentally unstable based on lack. We spend our entire lives in this bizarre cycle. Create a problem, solve the problem, feel good for a moment, create another problem. Make yourself hungry so eating feels good. Make yourself lonely so connection feels good. Make yourself bored so entertainment feels good. We've become like addicts who need the withdrawal just to feel the high of the fix. And for most of your life, this worked. This game of scratching itches you created yourself, it was enough. It felt like living. But then something shifted. Maybe it happened slowly. Maybe it happened all at once. But at some point, your consciousness saw through the trick. It's like when you learn how a magic trick works. Once you see the wires, the mirrors, the sleight of hand, you can't unsee them. The magic is broken forever. You can't. Go back to being fooled. And this is what's happened to you. You've become immune to your own manipulation. The itch you create no longer feels real enough to make the scratch satisfying. The hunger you manufacture doesn't make the food taste better. The loneliness you cultivate doesn't make connection feel profound. You've seen through it. And once you've seen through it, the whole game collapses. This is why nothing brings you joy anymore. Not because you're broken, but because you've outgrown a fundamentally childish way of experiencing life. And right now you're in withdrawal. Not from drugs or alcohol, but from something far more addictive. You're in withdrawal from experience itself, from the constant stimulation, the peaks and valleys, the drama of your own creation. You're a thrill addict who's been cut off from the supply. And like any addict in withdrawal, you feel like you're dying. You feel hollow, empty, like a ghost walking through a world that's lost its color. You look at people around you who still seem to be enjoying things, and you feel envious, confused. Why can they still feel and I can't? But they're not more alive than you. They're just still asleep, still willing to believe in the game, still able to get high on their own manufactured crises and resolutions. You can't anymore. I knew a woman once, let's call her Maya, who went through this exact thing. She was a musician. Her whole identity was built around the rush of performing, the high of applause, the intoxication of creating something beautiful. And then one day she sat down at her piano and nothing. No inspiration, no joy, no connection to the instrument that had been her voice for 20 years. She thought she was finished, thought her gift had been taken away. What she didn't realize was that her gift wasn't music. Her gift was the silence underneath the music. And she was finally becoming quiet enough to hear it. But I'm getting ahead of myself, because before you can hear the silence, you have to survive the absence of noise. And I know this feels like death. I know it feels like something precious has been taken from you, but stay with me here because this is where it gets interesting. Imagine you've spent your entire life in a dimly lit room, a room lit only by candles, and you've been fascinated by the shadows these candles cast on the walls, the dancing shapes, the flickering movements. You've spent years watching these shadows, finding meaning in them, being entertained by them, occasionally frightened by them. They've been your whole world. And then one day someone opens a window and sunlight, real sunlight, floods into the room. What happens to the shadows? They vanish, not because the light went out, but because the light became too bright. The candles are still burning, but you can't see their shadows anymore. They're overwhelmed by something infinitely more luminous. And here's the thing. For the first few moments after that window opens, you might actually think you've gone blind because your eyes, so accustomed to the dimness, to the subtle variations of shadow, can't yet process this much light. It's too much, too bright, too intense. So it looks like nothing, like emptiness, like a blank, washed-out void. This is where you are right now. The window has opened, the light has come in, and your perception, still calibrated for shadows and candlelight, can't yet see what's here. So it feels like nothing, like absence, like loss. But it's not absence. It's presence so complete, so full that your current way of seeing can't comprehend it yet. You're not depressed, you're not broken, you're being recalibrated. And the worst thing you can do right now, the absolute worst thing, is try to go back, try to close the window, try to relight the candles, try to manufacture shadows again. I've watched people do this. When the old pleasures stop working, they panic and they try to force it. They seek more extreme experiences, louder music, stronger substances, more dangerous thrills. They jump from relationship to relationship, hobby to hobby, belief system to belief system, desperately trying to feel something, anything. And all this does is delay the inevitable because you can't go back to sleep once you've woken up. You can pretend, you can exhaust yourself trying, but the innocence is gone. So what do you do instead? Here's what nobody tells you. You stop trying. You stop trying to feel joy. You stop trying to get back what you've lost. You stop trying to fix yourself because there's nothing to fix. You're like a caterpillar that's dissolved into liquid inside a cocoon, wondering why it can walk anymore, why it can't eat leaves, why everything that used to define it is gone. You're not a caterpillar anymore, but you're not yet a butterfly. You're just soup, formless, undefined in between. And this is unbearable for the mind, isn't it? Because the mind wants to know what it is, wants to have an identity, wants to be something. But you're not something right now. You're nothing becoming everything. You have to give up. You see, not give up on life, give up on trying. You have to stop trying to feel joy the way you stopped trying to catch smoke. Stop trying to get back to how things were. You understand? There is no back. There's only this formless moment, this soup you've become. And the more you thrash around trying to be something recognizable, the longer you stay liquid. And if you can just be with this, if you can stop fighting it, stop trying to resurrect the corpse of your old way of being, something new emerges. Not the old joy, something quieter, subtler, harder to describe. The old joy was like fireworks, loud, bright, impressive, but brief. This new thing, it's more like the sky itself. It's not an experience. It's the space in which experience happens. It's not a feeling. It's the awareness that feels. Do you see the difference? The old happiness required contrast, required things to be good or bad, pleasurable or painful, exciting or boring. It needed the hammer so it could feel the relief of stopping. But this doesn't need anything. It's already here, already complete. Whether you're eating a gourmet meal or stale bread, it's here. Whether you're in love or alone, it's here. Whether you're succeeding or failing, it's here. I once knew a man who spent his whole life chasing experiences. He traveled to every country, tried every drug, had every kind of relationship. And then one day he just stopped. He sat in his garden doing nothing for hours at a time. His friends thought he'd given up, thought he was depressed. But when I asked him about it, he said something I've never forgotten. He said, I finally realized I was traveling around the world looking for my house, and then I noticed I was already standing in it. This is what happens on the other side of the emptiness. You stop looking for life and realize you are life. You stop searching for joy and discover you are the space in which joy and sorrow both arise and dissolve. You don't need things to be a certain way anymore. Not because you've given up or become numb, but because you've found something that doesn't depend on circumstances. A kind of okayess, not happiness. Exactly. Not bliss, just okayess. Everything is fundamentally okay, even when it's not okay. Does that make sense? Probably not. Not yet. Because this isn't something you can understand intellectually. It's something you become. And you can't force it. You can't achieve it through effort. In fact, the more you try to get there, the further away you get. It's like trying to fall asleep. The harder you try, the more awake you become. Just be here in the grayness, in the flatness, in the void, without trying to escape it, without trying to fix it, without trying to understand it. Just sit in it like you'd sit in a waiting room, not enjoying it, not suffering through it, just waiting. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to get somewhere else, the moment you stop resisting what is, you arrive not at some special state, not at some peak experience. You arrive at reality itself, unfiltered, unmediated, unadorned, and it's enough. It's more than enough. It's everything. See, you haven't lost joy. You've just become too big for the small pleasures that used to contain you, like a child who grows too tall for their favorite hiding spot. The spot didn't disappear. You just don't fit in it anymore. And yes, that's sad in a way. There's a real grief in this grief for the simplicity of the old way, for the innocence that's been lost. But would you really want to go back? Would you really want to shrink yourself down just to fit into that small space again? Or would you rather grow into the vastness that's opening up before you? The choice is yours, of course. You can keep trying to light candles in the sunlight. You can keep manufacturing problems so you can feel the relief of solving them. You can keep chasing the ghost of a happiness that was never really happiness at all. Or you can sit here in this uncomfortable in-between and wait. Wait for your eyes to adjust to the light. Wait for a new way of seeing to emerge. Wait for the butterfly you're becoming to finish forming its wings. It won't look like you thought it would. It won't feel like you expected it to, but it will be real. More real than anything you've experienced before. And here's the final thing nobody tells you. The emptiness you're feeling right now, it's not empty. It never was. You've been calling it numbness, calling it depression, calling it death, but it's none of those things. It's just space. Space that was always there, hidden beneath the noise. Space that was always holding everything, the joy, the sorrow, the hunger, the satisfaction. You are that space. Not the things moving through it, not the feelings coming and going, the space itself. And space doesn't need anything to be complete. It doesn't need to be filled. It doesn't need to be fixed. It just is. So when you ask, why doesn't anything bring me joy anymore? The answer is simple. Because joy isn't something that comes from outside. It's not something that happens to you. It's what you are when you stop trying to be anything else. It's been here all along. You've just been too busy chasing shadows to notice the